I'm with Nora Kort from the Arab Orthodox Society. Now, Nora, what is the Arab Orthodox Society?
It is a faith-based organization that was started in 1926 by Arab Greek Orthodox. They were called Rum at the time, and we're close to the church, but we do not do the work of the church, actually, except in our diaconal work. We do have a lot of social services and different programs for the community and with the community. And the church, we're on the premises. One of our projects actually is on the premises of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, and that is the medical center. So we are followers of the Eastern Church. According to our patriarch, he keeps saying the Mother Church in the Holy Land.
And why were you started as an organization?
Actually, there's a story behind the reason for starting the organization. Prior to 1948, it was in 1925, according to the history of the organization that I read, one of the women who was poor and sick, she could not get her medical treatment properly, so she went up on the rooftop and threw herself from the rooftop, putting an end to her life. Those affluential women at the time got together and decided to dedicate their work to help the sick and the old. And this is how the organization began. One of its goals is, in fact, to provide health and medical services for people who need it.
And what is the mission of the organization?
The mission is all the activities, all the services are open for anybody who's in need of them. There is no discrimination in gender, in religion, in color, in anything. So the mission is health is for all, and social work for the needy is given and should be given to all.
Now you have many different projects. Tell us a little bit about each one.
It started in 1987 when the only government hospital, which was named the Hospice in the Old City, was about to close down by the Ministry of Health in Israel. And the people of the Old City were frantic because they were worried what would happen to them in case they need hospitalization. Besides, the language, the Hebrew language, was not known by many. So they were sort of uneasy about the whole thing. And one of the board members then, he was a doctor, he was a pediatrician, and he gathered a group of committed Orthodox and committed Christians and decided to do something for the Old City. The idea came as a medical center or as a polyclinic, and this is how it started. But there was no place, no purpose-made place for such an activity. So they knew about the Patriarchate, that it had a spacious place, and they got in touch with the Patriarch and with the bishops, because there is the synod of the bishops. They call it the Brotherhood of the Holy Sepulchre. They met with them, and one of the bishops was very close to the Arab community, although Greek, but he was close. And he said, okay, I'm willing to provide the space and you do the work. This is how it started in 1987, and it continues until today. But certainly today there are a lot of challenges because of the Israeli health and medical services which are given to everyone, and it's making our life a little bit difficult, but we're still going on with them, although we're not attached or affiliated to any of these Kopat Holim, as they call them, or the sick funds, and we are acting as private against nominal charges.
And is the medical center today very important for the community?
Yes, it is. And you'll be surprised, there are so many even foreigners and these seekers, the what you call the political asylum seekers from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, from different people that come, they always tap on whatever services we have. And also our dental unit, which is, one of the best clinics in Jerusalem, is manned by very professional people who are doing all this kind holistic treatment of the teeth and dentures and etc. etc. Now we started with a medical center, but actually at the time of the first Intifada, 1987, 88, there were so many people coming. They were not really sick, but they showed signs of sickness. And one of the things, I was in charge then as the chairwoman of the organization, I instructed the social and community workers to get in touch with the women, daughters, sisters, or wives of these patients and meet with them and see what they could do, because charity would never last forever. And I was frightened that the number was growing, and they did identify 2 sectors where they could do and train. Number one was in the area of embroidery, because most of them know, but they never knew how to target to the market. And secondly, food. And since that time, and through the help of my friends in the international community, they were able to come up with some funding, and I had the idea of establishing these cooperatives. And here we are. We were taking care of 550 embroiderers. Now the number dropped to 50 because lack of tourism. That's number one, coming to East Jerusalem. You see lots of tourists in Jerusalem, but they don't care to stop and buy. So the economy and the economic business is not that high. I recall the first year we established the place, it was in 1994. We made a net profit of $35,000, and we had nothing. It was almost empty, but we made it during those days. Now we hardly get enough money to provide the salaries and the wages of the workers and the staff.
Well, we're here in the Art Centre, and there's lots of embroidery and things like that. Are these made by women who are struggling in poverty themselves?
Yes. They come from everywhere, from Jerusalem very few, and there are women who come from different parts of the West Bank, and we reach them as well. There was a time when our staff used to go out to the villages, including myself, and identify the people, the women particularly, who needed. They were the breadwinners of their families. But again, looking at the beauty of the art, and to me, the stones and embroidery go together. And I always wanted something pretty to be forever in the old city of Jerusalem, because most of the tourists that come, they say the area needs cleaning, it needs this, it needs that. There is nothing attractive except we come for the sake of the holy sites. Actually, one of these things got into my head, and I thought, since we have all these nice productions, why don't we keep them in one place? And the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, because through my work I was able to get funding and rehabilitate, renovate their schools, they were appreciative, and they gave the organization an old building in the old city of Jerusalem. And to my biggest surprise, the old building was in shambles. It was destroyed. There were no windows, no doors, no nothing. And it took quite a bit of money to renovate. Now it's a museum. It dates back to the Mamluks period, over 655 years. And it's renovated in such a way. It has all these items and objects that date back to the 18th century until the beginning of the 20th century. And it's open for everybody, and it's attracting a lot of people from all nationalities.
Wow. So with all this embroidery that you have here, you're providing dignity for women.
Exactly. Dignity and self-esteem, because if a woman can earn some money, it goes to the usage of the family members. I keep saying, if you train a woman, then in other words, you're improving the livelihood of all members of the family. okay, because she takes the money and uses in her own home for the education of her daughters, for the betterment of their living conditions. If you train a man, he may take the money and go drinking or doing whatever he does. It doesn't mean that we don't train men. Just the contrary. We try to teach non-traditional and traditional items, for example, such as ceramics, painting on stained glass, and jewelry, traditional and non-traditional. We trained and developed these kinds of crafts, and there are women who do it from within homes, and they make money.
Is the Christian heritage important to the Arab Orthodox Society?
Of course, it is the core of our presence. Heritage is very important because Christians are part and parcel of the community. When you hear the word Palestinian, most people think that there are no Palestinian Christians, especially in the West. And I was confronted with this to the point that one time I was on a speaking tour in the States, and one woman stops me. It was the time I met the wife of the ex-Secretary of State, Mr. James Baker. The woman says, "Ma'am, may I interrupt you and ask, since when have you been Christian?" I pretended I did not hear her question. I said, "Beg your pardon, can you repeat?" She said, "Since when are you Christian?" I said, "Have you ever heard the word Pentecost?" We were Christians since then. And there was sort of clapping and applause, and, in the hall. But this shows you that people are engaged in their own or immersed in their own issues. And to know about the Christian Palestinian and the beauty of life of the Christian community being part and parcel of all the other religions is really precious. And I recall so vividly when I was young, our Muslim neighbor used, during Ramadan, the holy month of fasting, she used to fill her little apron pocket and bring all these goodies to us as children. So this is the memory I have. Today, it's so unfortunate that the religions are being politicized, and this is the heart, the core of the problems.
Now, you've been a Palestinian Christian living in Jerusalem. You must have seen many, many changes over the years.
Oh, I don't know Jerusalem the way it was when I was young. It was a pleasure to live in Jerusalem. Now, it takes pains and tears at times to find a spot to park your car, to know the streets. If you don't live here, I have brothers who live abroad. When they come here, they say, "Where are you taking us?" They don't know because there have been so many changes done to Jerusalem. The defacing of Jerusalem is ongoing, and this is scary. With all these settlements around the hilltops, with all the changes, our life is threatened as Palestinians, whether Christians or non-Christians. There is no differentiation or discrimination regarding religion. We Christians have tough times. Now, we're wondering whether during our Holy Week, Easter time, we're going to face all these problems of not being able to enter Jerusalem, to enter the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, because they put all these barricades and they do not allow people to come in except at a particular time. They say after 2, when all these festivities and celebrations, and we know that Light Saturday is the peak of the holiday, so we're not allowed to come into the old city. So there are lots of things that we are going through. Maybe at times we express it, like what you must have heard about the closure of the Holy Sepulchre. And why? Because how can I pay the municipality tax, which is higher than the rent, when I don't have business? And this property where you are in belongs to the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate. They gave it to us in order to help the community. How can I come up with more money? Hardly enough to make both ends meet regarding expenses and the utilities of the place. So they're making life really hectic. if you are interested, I can tell you there was one time when they wanted to close down, the municipality wanted us to close down our pie and bake place. My lawyer came and he said, Nora, you have to be there. There is the case hearing on a specific day. I want you to be there as a witness. I did go, and the lawyer of the municipality was screaming and yelling, close the place, give them a heavy fine. She was talking to the judge. They gave me the chance to swear, which I did. And the judge asked me, what do you want to say? I said, Mr. Judge, I don't want to talk much, but I just want to ask you a question. Which is better? To see women waiting in lines to get charity, or to train them and have them depend on themselves? The answer is yours, and I leave the final word for you. And I went back to my place. I was looking at his face. It was turning colors from red to blue to violet, etc. And the lady lawyer was screaming like crazy because they gave us 7,000 shekels fine. You know why? Because the ceiling is low. I said, how can I change the ceiling? And above me, there are apartments. This is old city. You don't change. So anyway, after everything was done, the final verdict was, he said, okay, instead of 7,000 shekels, you pay 1,000. You have 4 months to take care of the needs that you have to fix the place and do whatever is needed. I did not know whether to be happy or to be sad because there was fine, and the lawyers, even those that were coming for other cases, came to shake my hands. I said, why? I did not make it. I did not, end up not paying. They said, congratulations. This judge is a tough judge, and he understood your message. I was happy then, and since that time, I can say, they're not pestering us, they're not harassing us.
What's your prayer for the future of the Arab Orthodox Society?
I pray that it sustains. I pray that unity continues among the people. I pray that we will be able to serve in better ways and in different ways more than what we're doing now. We have lots of ideas. What we need is the monetary support. Donations are dwindling nowadays, or for political reasons. I hope that there will be peace one day. Just pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Okay, Nora, thank you very much.
Thank you.